Hi everybody. So, a few decks that I'm using right now in this autumnal season. We're approaching a Mercury retrograde and I'm kind of going back and working with some decks that I haven't for a while. And one of them, it's kind of a neat little synchronicity. I had pulled out the Tarot of the Sevenfold Mystery to work with, and just a couple days ago, Simon from the Hermit's Cave did a Throwback Thursday on the deck, and just, like I said, a nice little synchronicity. So, it's by Robert M. Place, and it's a wonderful deck. I know I had done a review on this years ago, and it took me a little while to connect with the deck because I had been so sort of involved with his chemical tarot, and that was always one of my favorite decks because it was an early deck of mine. And I learned a lot from working with that deck, so I had a real connection with it. So, it's taken me a while to really connect with this one, but I have. The Alchemical will always be my number one of his, and this is number two. It did take another thing. It took me a little while to sort of be okay with the words on the cards. But as I've gotten to understand the deck and the messages and his idea of the deck that's coming through, then I'm okay now with those words. It just fits fine. And if you like his art style, some do. I think many do. It's a wonderful deck to have. Beautiful colors and different takes on some cards. It's a beautiful temperance card. It's very meaningful. And I really like this, the 9 and 10 of Wands. You see the black bird, the crow, sacrificing himself into the 9 of Wands, into the flames. And with the 10 of Wands, the phoenix arises from the flames. I like the 6 of Cups. Four of Wands. The Ace of Pentacles. That tapestry feel, that sort of William Morris tapestry artwork. It's gorgeous. And I like all of the royal cards in the deck. I just pulled out one suit to show you, but I think they're all beautiful and I just love it. There's the Lady of Coins, so that would be like our page. And then, of course, we have the Knight, Queen, and King. It's just gorgeous, and the colors are beautiful. As I said, I find it to be a meaningful deck, and deck I could use certainly for myself and also for others easily. Okay, another deck I'm loving and reconnecting with, a deck truly that I cherish, and I'm so glad to have it in my collection. It is the Tildwick Tarot, which I'm sure is out of print. The artist, as you may know, has passed. Here's the backing. And this is perhaps one of the most unique decks that I have or that I've ever seen. So if you're familiar with it, there are no people in the deck, but you're seeing the rooms or the gardens that the people he felt would have spent time in. And here's the Emperor with all those books in the background. The compositions are just gorgeous in the deck. I'll show you a few cards. Here's the Magician. I know that the cards are hard to see on camera, so I'll just show a few. Here's the World. The King of Wands. And there's the Knight, the fireplace. All the knights have fireplaces. This is the 9 of Swords. I mean, subtle and powerful. The Hermit. the Six of Swords. Like, can you imagine all the thought that went into these cards? Each one is just so well thought out. It's incredibly creative. There's the Eight of Cups, and here's the Sun. And I guess we'll leave it on that note. And I also want to just mention that when I work with the deck, I always think of my friend who encouraged me to buy the deck, a very wise and creative man. So I'm so happy to have it. Okay, and there's another deck I want to talk about, which, I only really connect with it once in a while. I know there are some people that, it's their favorite deck. I can't say that, but I can say that it is a deck that offers just what I need when I need it, and that is the Tarot of Vampyres by Ian White. There's the backing, and it's a very well-known deck. And there's just something about it. I stand by this. I know I've said it before, that it has a gentle hand and a healing hand. In spite of what it might look like to you, that's what I get from it. Always something helpful in my readings. And, sometimes just go through things, and or I do, I'll go through a certain cycle of, and I feel like I need a particular type of deck. And this is like a good friend. Another thing I like about the deck is the details in the background. And you'll see even in this card here, there's just so much, going on in the background. And what happens if you spend time with the card or with your reading, these little things will start to bring information to the foreground of your mind, all these little details in the back. So if you're detail oriented, you'll appreciate that. And here's a couple more. And the Moon. And I had done a reading the other night with that deck, and I pulled a few cards, or no, one card, from Les Vampyres, which is an oracle deck. I figured, hey, they would go together really well, and it turned out to be a really good reading. So, reconnecting with this as well. I've been working with these Jasmine Beckett Griffith decks. The ones I've had, I've been working with throughout the year, just getting to know them better and seeing which ones I like more than others. So right now I'm working with this one, and also her Myths and Mermaids, another fabulous deck. And I mean, I think they're great. I know the artwork is not for everyone, but I'll tell you what, once you're working with them and you see it in person, I find her artwork is much better than what you would see online, and it speaks volumes. So there's another oracle deck I've been working with it's actually been for a while. In fact, I'm going to do a whole video on it, and that is the Mystic Sisters oracle deck. And it's just so gorgeous. This deck, I don't even need to include it in this video. This is not about a season. This deck is a deck I will use through each and every season. But, I happen to be really engaging with it right now. It's all feminine. very balanced, dark and light, and stunning. Each image is stunning. So you will, I'll put a walkthrough in the next day or so with this deck. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about, just a few decks. I didn't want to overwhelm myself with a lot of decks for the season, because I also know that as the weeks go on, I'll add or take away certain decks. I will change. So right now, smaller amounts is really what is working for me. And, you know, maybe going deeper, just smaller and deeper for the amount of decks I'm working with. Where years ago, I used to pull out so many for each season, and I found that I wasn't really getting enough out of the decks that way. So that's my autumn / Mercury retrograde season tarot decks and oracle decks, and hope you're doing well. What are you reading? I'll see you soon. Bye for now.